Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to share with you a clip from a recent live event. This is members only live, so if you want to be present at these live events, check out my YouTube membership page. Consider getting involved at any level, and you can be invited to these weekly live events. And in this question, Paul Taylor asked a comment around what will be the catalyst for the next Splinterlands bull market moment. And I think there's actually multiple catalysts. We're going to talk about what happened last time we saw a crazy bull market here, and what are the core sort of mechanics that created that moment, and then how will that translate, or how will that appear in the coming bull market? Because I think we have something to learn from the past, and I think we can expect a bull market in the future. So I hope you stick around for that one, and check out the members only live content if you're interested. But before we go any further, I have two things I want to say. Splintercoach.com is a service that I'm really enjoying. $5 a month unlocks the ability to record and to review your Splinterlands battle history. You can see which summoners and monsters you're playing, how often you're playing, and when you're winning or losing with each of them at every mana cap level and every rule set. That breakdown of data is really interesting to look at, but it also can help you make good decisions that allow you to win more and extract more reward. Thaddeus is one of the best summoners in this game. The data shows it. For the cost of that summoner, you need it if you don't have it. Low mana can fit into a lot of different niches, and it wins when it plays. It's over 500% for me. There's Thaddeus at 78 and 72. Not nearly as many wins as, for instance, Kelia, but Kelia's played double the number of matches and has a far lower win rate. Lily Shieldpaw played more but cost more. Immortalis wins more but costs more. You cannot beat Thaddeus Brew. Check them out. And then also one of the things that I see a lot of victory from and out of when I subdivide, not just by which monsters I play, but also by which has the highest winning percentage. Look at that. I'm really surprised. Heartclaw, so cheap, 25 and 16. When it fits, it wins. But the Life Sapper is what I wanted to show you. The Life Sapper does a lot right for a little mana cost. 23 and 11 is the record I have with the Life Sapper at a 676 win rate, and it's the kit that this thing has with that redemption, with the life leech, with the mana damage output, and it's just a strong card for really little mana cost. The cost associated with the card also is very, very low. You're talking $9 for a maxed out copy of this. So, and it's going to be in the Modern League for a while to come. So it's just a lot of reasons why this is a strong card, and why if you don't have it, you should, in combination with Thaddeus especially. And that's data, and that's information, and those are conclusions that I've drawn out of the tool that I'm really enjoying, splintercoach.com. Check it out, guys. Okay, let's get into the video. What is the next catalyst to get a large number of players in the game? The last one was the intro of SPS and DC skyrocketing, getting all the ROIers in the mix. Yeah, let's talk about this. I agree. I would say that additionally, there was like multiple, there was more than one factor. This is the biggest factor. The other factor was the bull market cycle, Bitcoin rising. Another was cards running out in Splinterlands when we lost Chaos, or we lost Untamed, and there was a season of time where we didn't have any packs available. That really mattered because it drove card prices higher, which meant that the reward cards we were receiving for effort in the game had a bigger price tag. And so my answer to you on this question is it's actually surrounded. It comes out of a place of a similar tone, which is that the growth comes from the outside when the ROIers see fruit on the tree. When people who are not currently in the ecosystem see something different here, see outsized returns, see multiplications that have already happened that they then get greedy over. And that's like what I talked about a few minutes ago. People, when during bear markets, they don't want to move, they don't want to bite, they don't want to buy. During bull markets, they can't get enough. And that's the wrong attitude, but it's exactly what will happen here in the next bull market. And so how does that start? To me, how that starts is there's probably, like I said earlier, about the last cycle, there was multiple sort of touch points that brought it about. Bitcoin spiking, the SPS airdrop, the DEC spiking in price, and cards going off the market. That's 3 or 4 different topics that drove the last cycle. And I think we'll see multiple touch points that will drive the next cycle. But I would say that in large part, it'll be at the core the same issue of outside money seeing outsized returns here in Splinterlands. That is the core of what happened before, and it's the core of what will happen again in the future. What will it look like precisely? I do think we can answer that question. I think, and I've spoken to it before, but I'll speak to it. I'll try and summarize it here. I think part of it is definitely 100% going to be the price of SPS reaching new highs. Now, I don't know about all-time highs. I truly don't. I don't really know what to believe here with SPS, because part of me, like I said in my first opening remarks, I think there's a FOMO in me, and I can get carried away with that. So I have huge confidence, and I am almost certain, maybe even you might say I'm certain, but I'm then willing to say I'm certain, but I also could be wrong. Like that's almost my posture, that SPS will break 50 cents. That for me feels, yes, it's going to happen. And I feel like $1 is a strong, strong probability. I could imagine higher than that, but let's leave that alone. And that feels, anything beyond that to me feels like an absolute crazy move. That doesn't mean it's not possible. I'm just saying my heart tells me that it's absolutely probable 50 cents. And I definitely think $1 is reasonable, despite all the justifications and the naysayers, etc. Because of two reasons. Fundamentals are here. Two, FOMO takes things to crazy places. That's it. So to answer your question, part one of the answer is SPS will begin to spike, and that will draw the attention of outside money because they will be chasing after green candles. They'll want, the SPS will move from 2 cents to 10 cents on the back of land, on the back of flywheel, on the back of, SPS staking requirements within Soul Keep, etc., etc., etc. Because we don't even fully know all the use cases that are going to be planned over the next several months, the different packs that might be sold, the different, usefulness that might come for it, the different spending opportunities for it. We don't fully know all of the impact of and demand that will exist for SPS, but I'm telling you, and I feel confident that it will grow. And so I'm saying naturally we move from like 2 cents to 10 cents. And then I think outsized, that's a 5x essentially. Like, I mean, a little less than 5x, but I am so confident that that sort of move will start piquing the interest of outside money. And then, and just from that perspective alone, you might argue 50 cents. But then there's more to it, because as SPS price increases, you see an increase, you see a multiplication in the pool rewards. We've talked about this at length on various other videos, but just very concisely in case someone only watches this video, DEC to BUSD is one of the liquidity pools. DEC DAI is a second liquidity pool we have here on Splinterlands. These liquidity pools pay significant returns, 12 to 13% right now. And that's based on the amount of money invested in there and based on the price of SPS, because the reward is paid in SPS. So if we actually saw SPS go from 2 cents to 10 cents just through the natural course of Splinterlands activity and use, just the use cases I already laid out, and none of the ones that we don't know about, because frankly, I know there's going to be more use cases, but we don't yet know. And so let's just focus on what we know. I think from 2 to 10 is possible. And then you see a 5x multiplier in the APR here, because why? The price of SPS is the reward. So right now you're going to get, I don't know, let's just imagine you participate in this pool and you get 100 SPS. Well, that's at 2 cents, that's $2. But then at 10 cents, it's $100. Did I just do the math right? 100, 10 cents, no, $10. So right now, 100 tokens, $2. Goes up to 10 cents, it's $10. And depending on if the APR is going from 13 in that example to 50 to 60%, that is going to be so sexy and exciting for outside money. So now that's two different reasons. One, SPS price can spike in and of itself, and that can attract new money. Second, if SPS price spikes, it would make the liquidity pool sexier, more attractive, and outside money would chase after those gains. Now I know, and we have to say, that these rewards will drop as new money comes into the liquidity pool, because it's shared. The reward pie is shared between more mouths. So that would be a give and a take. But as SPS rises, it's not going to, like I said, with any cryptocurrency increases, it's not going to go one day a little bit, next day a little bit, next day. No, it goes in fits and spurts from 2 to 5 cents, from 5 to 10 in relatively rapid moments, like whether it's a day, a week, or something like that. That's how massive spikes happen. It's not slowly and steadily. People say prices take what's that expression? They take stairs down and the elevator up. Like it's really like straight bars up, parabolic moves up that make huge differences. And so SPS price has two separate ramifications here. And then what does that mean? Well, it means if we started seeing massive rewards in here, you see new people wanting to get involved in here. How are they going to get involved in here? They need to have access to DEC. How do they get DEC? Do they buy it off the market? Well, there's very, very little available. There's actually about 2 to 3 billion DEC available, and they can't get it largely from that because, frankly, we need all of that for land. And then, as I said, with SPS and the use cases that exist now, there's also new use cases coming soon. Same with DEC. So there's 2 or 3 billion that's truly available, truly liquid, truly accessible on a marketplace for sale. And that's going to get gobbled up for the purposes of land alone. But then people will see these APRs are raising and they want DEC. How do they get it? They buy SPS and they burn it. What does that do to SPS price? Not just moving from 2 to 10 cents. Now we're talking about further increases because there's less and less SPS because the sellers are being bought and the holders are then you get to a place where at some point the weak hands are gone and there'll be a season. I think it'll just be a few weeks. It might literally be Splinterlands, a few seasons, like 4-6 weeks, something like that, where there's a true drying up of liquidity on SPS as well as DEC, which drives crazy new eyeballs onto these liquidity pools as well as the game because it's driving the appreciation from your battle returns to crazy new places, your guild participation returns to crazy new places. And the card values are so expensive too because new investors in that moment are striving to get into the game. So this is the path. It's outsized gains are going to attract new money. And they shouldn't be attracted then, but they will. DEC is going to return to peg. SPS is going to go up in price. The liquidity pool rewards are going to gain in value. The card values are going to start spiking because of all the reasons I just justified. That's going to be like, and then maybe additionally DEC or Bitcoin goes from 30 to 50. I don't know. Like I definitely could imagine that happening. Ethereum goes from 18 or whatever to 3,000 again or something like that. Man, these outside changes absolutely have an influence on where we go. But internally, I think I spent the first few minutes just arguing from an internal perspective. We can see our own growth because of the fundamental considerations out of land right now. And then add to that the broader benefits I just touched on a little. And I think we get to a crazy place. And again, how do we see, when do we see the next sort of crazy multipliers and what'll it come out of? It'll come out of these outsized returns that come from this place of fundamentals that I just explained. And yeah, I think that's so close is the exciting thing. So yeah, that's what I think, Paul. I think the crazy next moves come out of like in some real sense, it's a conversation about the tokenomics that have been written in the game by the geniuses that run this thing. And 2, how smart land has been. And actually 3, the interconnected nature of everything. It's been brilliantly planned years ago now that everything here is so interconnected. SPS, DEC, land and how it uses these tokens, the game and how you need to have access to them in order to gain rewards from rank battle, to rent cards you need DEC, to buy cards off the marketplace most effectively with bid buys you need DEC. There's just such an interconnected nature with one element of this and every other element. And then you look at Soul Keep and similarly, again, interconnected nature, Splinter Forge, interconnected nature. It's all actually deeply connected. And so when one of the dominoes falls and you don't necessarily even need to know which, it just leads to a place of action, of momentum. And with cryptocurrency and being as small as we are, it doesn't take much sort of momentum to initiate a radical change. That's how I would respond to that answer. The catalyst will be sort of a variety of little things, land being the biggest of them, SPS and DEC lack of liquidity being sort of the secondary elements, liquidity pools and the new 50 ones being like the third or fourth option consideration there, and the interconnected nature being maybe the final sort of element for how it's going to go into a skyrocketing moment. And I like this comment then in that context, because I feel as though like that's a real cheerleader moment for me and for our game. Like I think I could justify all of that, and I think I just did. But I like this comment as a follow-up. The old adage, don't risk more than you're willing to lose, is so appropriate because, like we said earlier, and like Eli pointed to, we got to tread lightly when we feel so confident, especially in a financial investment. We have to know that nothing is certain, even when things seem so likely to go to crazy places. We always you gotta walk that line between greed and confidence.